Hey everyone, what is good in the hood? Hope y'all are doing very well on this fine rest day, this Sunday. So a lot of you amazing people have been requesting for me to touch upon certain subjects and give my opinion. So that is what I'm doing. Today, the subject and theme that we'll be focusing on is a woman with integrity. So let me just jump right in and say this. If I can teach you only one value to live by, guys, only one, it would be this. Integrity is the first step to true greatness. Listen, success will come and go, but guess what? Integrity is forever, okay? I'll repeat that. Success will come and go, but integrity is forever. So the reason why I want to focus on this subject is because it's not talked about very much. And I feel like it is something our generation has thrown out the window and doesn't think about anymore. So I wanted to take the time to bring it back, highlight it, and hopefully you guys will enjoy this session. I don't know what you consider this. So anyway, unfortunately, what, a few people and myself are noticing is that we live in a world where integrity isn't discussed nearly enough, okay? I made that clear. It seems that instead of taking the proper or longer or most importantly, our preferred way, we would much rather take shortcuts or not the way we personally want to take it to obtain our goal as it is easier. So, if you think about it, it's actually easy to act with disgrace, to act with dishonor and, dishonesty, which is, in other words, lying, finessing, manipulation. Because, you see, for us humans, it is much more natural for us to do so. That's one thing that we need to understand and realize. But do you know how much strength and willpower it takes to act with grace, honor, and honesty? It takes a certain discipline and excellence to do so, and I feel like you guys really need to sorry guys, tongue twister. I really feel like you guys need to take the time to think about that. It's easier to act with disgrace, dishonor, and dishonesty, but it takes great discipline and strength and willpower to act with grace, honor, and honesty. Think about that. Want proof? I'll give you proof. So, bear with me. No one has to teach a child to behave badly, because they will lie, they will steal and bully other kids and children naturally. This is not something that you need to teach them. This is easy as A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. That was so corny. But I love my corny jokes, but you get my point. You don't have to teach a child to behave badly. But instead, we find ourselves having to teach our children through discipline, punishment, and rewards how to behave. So, seriously, think about this. Take a second to literally think about it. You know what? I'm gonna give you a second. No, but all jokes aside, to teach a child about integrity takes years of good communication, attentiveness, discipline, and practice. This is something that needs to be taught. And, Now, let's look into the meaning of integrity real quick. I want us to really have a good understanding of what the word integrity means. so that we can move forward without any confusion. So integrity means doing the right thing at all times. So think of it like that. It's doing the right thing at all times, in all circumstances, whether or not anyone is watching. So this doesn't mean that you want to do the right thing up until something pops up and you're not with it, or it's at your convenience, in other words. You're doing the right thing at all times, in all circumstances, whether someone is watching you or not. Okay? So it's basically the courage to do the right thing, no matter what the consequences are, what they'll be. It's the ability to not do what you want, which is, a form of selfishness, but to do what is right, which, if you think about it, is a form of selflessness. So building a reputation of integrity takes years. And this is what sucks, guys. It takes years to build a reputation of integrity, but it only takes a second to lose. So understand that it takes great will and power to have integrity, and that it's really worth gold, because anything, if you think about it, that is worth it takes time, hard work, and almost anything that comes easy and fast is not only trash, but cheap, unrewarding, and meaningless in the end, like long term. And, I suggest that you guys take the time to meditate on this, and if you have to, write it down on paper to really think deeply about it. I suggest you do that. And not only is it cheap, unrewarding, and meaningless in the end, but if you think about it, it becomes a debt when you take anything that comes easy, If you think about it very deeply, as everything you put your time into, or give yourself to, is a form of sacrifice, which is a form of payment. So, to define the word sacrifice, that is a loss, or something that you willingly give up, usually for the sake of a better something or cause. This is a deeper topic that I can definitely speak on if you guys would like me to. So do let me know if that's a topic you're interested in. But that's besides the point. Back to the word integrity. Now, let's take a look at some definitions of integrity to get a short and simplified explanation of the word. Shall we? So I searched up for 3 different definitions, okay? So the first one is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness. And this is by the Oxford Dictionary. The second definition is firm adherence to a code of especially moral or artistic values, incorruptibility, and this is by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. And the third definition that I pulled up is the choice between what's convenient and what's right. And this is by a man named Tony Dungy, by the way. So anyway, let's jump right in. So what is a woman with integrity? What is that? What's a woman with integrity? Having integrity is more than having morals or not cheating, lying, or stealing. It's about being a woman who is dependable, who has principles. It is a woman who has a backbone as strong as a pillar, okay? It is a woman who doesn't question herself. She listens to her heart and does the right thing. And in doing that, her life becomes more simple, and she's able to live in peace. Her actions and decisions do not need to be hidden because she's not worried or ashamed about her truth, which is amazing, by the way. What else? I mean, it's a woman who gains trust from other people, from others, especially those that she's closest to, obviously. She is dependable, she's trustworthy, and accountable for her actions. She can be trusted. People can feel safe in her presence. And, She can even gain influence and loyal people in her life. This is what you get for being a loyal person or a person with integrity. She's a good role model, whether people like to admit it or not, because her integrity has a hallmark of ethical consistency and leadership by companies, to, co-workers, teachers, communities, families, and other great leaders. And by the way, for those who don't know what a hallmark is, this is basically a mark that's stamped on like articles of gold, silver, or platinum, specifically in Britain. And it's done to certify their standards of purity, okay? Just so you guys know. So that, to me, is what a woman of integrity is. So, in short, she is a woman that can be trusted and respected. She possesses a strong and good character, which personally, in my eyes, is golden. Like, I find that golden. I aspire to be that. Now, I came across a very interesting documentary called Almost Famous, of an American singer and songwriter, best known for her work with the hip-hop group Black Eyed Peas. That was directed by Ben Proudfoot, by the way. And her name is Kimberly Alice Hill, but she's known as Kim Hill. So for the sake of this story, I'm just gonna call her Kim Hill. So anyway, her story intrigued me. Why? Well, because it was not only a very relatable situation that I and a few other women go through, but because I think that women rarely are praised for having an unpopular and good opinion and, for standing their ground. So, before I start, I want to be clear about something with you guys, okay? The reader or the listener, since I will also be posting this on my website, www.Kei-Shawonna.com. So, as I was saying, I want to be clear with you and say that I, Kei-Shawonna, under no circumstances judge, hate, or look down on anyone for having a different opinion than myself, okay? I'm a very open and accepting person. And for those who believe in astrology very strongly, I'm a Libra, so y'all can understand. This is to support my point. So anyways, I believe that there is no right and wrong answer. It's just a question of perspective and beliefs. That's how I feel. I can still be a very good person and disagree with you on a subject or a topic. I can still be a very good person and not share the exact same opinion as you. I can still be a very good person and not comply to what the majority is doing. Okay? So, quick little disclaimer, you know what I'm saying? I just, like any other individual or group, want respect, no discrimination. The only difference that a few and I have with some is our lack of care for acceptance and sense of belonging to a majority. Like, I'm over it. So, have your opinion, say what you have to say, but all I ask is that you come correctly and with, a good spirit, with a good heart. Don't come to anyone, for that matter, spitefully or, ready to attack or for argument purposes, okay? Anyways, now, back to the reason why Kim Hill's story intrigued me. What I found admirable about her was her good decision-making, her simplicity, her definition of happiness and success, and most importantly, her ability to stand her ground even when offered a very tempting proposal that required to most likely throw her morals outside the window. So, let me tell you about her story real quick. Kim Hill grew up in New York. She was a huge fan of Soul Train, which, by the way, is an American music dance television program, which has aired for about 35 years. And the show features performances by R&B, soul, dance, pop, hip-hop, funk, jazz, disco, gospel artists. It was always her dream to appear on this show, which, you know what? I understand. That would be my dream too, living it, in her time. Because that's the type of music I'm into, so I totally get it. So anyway, she grew up with a single mother, yet lived very privileged as she lived in the white suburbs. She would constantly code switch. Okay, so for those that don't know what code switching is, it's actually a term specifically used for language. So code switching is when a speaker alternates between two or more languages or dialects and varieties of languages. So in this case, what Kim is trying to portray is her younger self switching cultures, behaviors, lingo with the white and black community. So she would constantly code switch in the middle of those two worlds. And she quoted, these are her exact words, praying that those two worlds would never collide. So fast forward, one day she went through a life-changing experience at her 16th birthday party, when her mother told her she was only going to throw one party instead of two, as she would do parties to separate the white and the black community. She didn't like having them together, so she would usually do two. And her mom was like, no, I don't have that time and energy. We're going to do one party. Of course, this was a problem for Hill, because she did not want her black friends to judge her for talking away, like, oh my God, and I totally, yes, okay? And she did not want her white friends to question her for, the people she was hanging out with, So when speaking to her mother, very oddly, meaning not herself, when she was speaking to her mother at the party, her mother stopped her and asked her this very interesting question. Where's your voice? Where are you? So, guys, that line hit her, of course, and myself like tinnitus hits you in the back of your head. Like, that just, it touched me. I really like her two questions. Where's your voice? Where are you? Before I go on with the story, I want us to take that line in. Okay, so many of us don't know where our voices are and don't know where our true self is hiding. And this is because we fill ourselves with information that we don't need. We follow trends, people, music, or anything of that matter or related that don't truly match or resonate with who we truly are inside, okay? So if you ever find yourself feeling lost or not certain of who you are, it could be because of this. Let me ask you something. Ask yourself this. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you accepted an invitation from someone and once there, you realize you do not blend in with the crowd like at all? This has happened to me a few times personally. Or, you find yourself, doing activities that you normally wouldn't do, or you decide to go out to have fun when you ought to be doing some work because you have some shit to do. Or smoking or drinking when you promised yourself that you would take, a 6-month break. You get my point, right? I don't know. Maybe we're pretending to be something we're not. Maybe we have created a persona that can be accepted by the mass and to avoid rejection or judgment. Maybe we think that it is the only way to fit in or be accepted by the greater group, to maintain and contribute to the greater group, because if we don't, the quality of our experiences will be horrible because you can end up as an outcast or alone. Whether you like to admit it or not, every human being will go through whether you like to admit it or not, every human being will go through an identity crisis in their life in some shape or fashion. Like, that's just like a fact, okay? There's no if, buts, or like, no. Everyone goes through it at some point in their life. And if we do not take the time to establish ourselves, set boundaries, and preserve our integrity, we will get lost in confusion and uncertainty and will eventually wind up unhappy. Oh yeah, very quickly, quick side note, guys. There is a time for everything, though. I want to just stress on this very quickly because this is something that I learned when I was very young, and I don't know, it's just a good perspective, good to hear type of concept. So, there is a time for everything, okay? There's a time to cry, and there's a time to laugh, a time to be happy, a time to be sad, a time to be lenient, and then there's a time to be firm. Therefore, there is a time to embrace uncertainty and confusion at some point in your life, but there is a time to also wake up, add clarity to your life to not get lost in it. You know what I'm saying? So, like everything in life, it needs a balance, yin and yang type of shit, Now, in Kim Hill's case, we can see that she had an identity issue, clearly, which we all go through, especially during our younger years and youthful years. So when her mother asked her, "Where's your voice? Where are you?" That day, being in an environment with different groups of people, with her black friends and her white friends, she realized hypocrisy was well alive in her. So the fact that she had to worry about her actions and decisions and literally hide because she was worried I'll say worried and or ashamed about her truth, which is opposite to Owen with integrity, like I mentioned earlier. Anyway, fast forward to Kim Hill's story. She moved to Los Angeles to get a record deal instead of getting food and any minimal necessities. She went out of her way to do the necessary steps to reach her goal, which is also another admirable move that I applaud her for. Okay, I respect and give props to anyone chasing their dreams and getting out of their comfort zone and do what they have to do to get and attain what they want. Anyway, she finally started working. She landed on TV shows, showcases, and this is where will.i.am found her. With discipline and hard work, they started to sell small venues and open up for artists, from Eminem to No Doubt, Outkast, pretty good, artists, which I find amazing. And one thing she embraced about the group, the Black Eyed Peas group, is that they were authentic. For example, they went on Soul Train, which, by the way, she basically made her dream happen. She ended up on Soul Train. And yeah, on that show, they lip synced, and she mentioned how will.i.am stopped rapping and looked right into the camera to make a point. And to describe their musical concept and their group, he replied, their personalities came before any materialism. So basically, their group was very big on being purist. Now, all of a sudden, the pressure started to rise. Okay, so there was new management, a whole new set of expectations and pressure arising. It got to a point where she wondered how far out on the plank they wanted her to go. And like she mentioned, her tug of war was on her sexuality and how much she was willing to literally strip down. They started to affect, the brother and sisterhood relationship within the group. And she did not want that type of burden on her shoulders. She was just like, nah, no, I don't want this. It's not for me. This was a very tough fight for her. Clearly, right? As it would be for any woman who is in her position and is not comfortable with that. Now, there are some women who don't have a problem with that, and that is okay. That's fine. It's their prerogative. There is nothing wrong with knowing what you want and being comfortable in your own skin and being able to show it to the public if it is generally your decision. As long as an individual doesn't feel like they are going against their beliefs or morals or is being forced to do an act to move up, where's the problem, right? It's nobody's business but the individual's. But Kim, that was not her goal. It was never to be objectified while doing her music. And some artists are like that. There's just some female artists that are not about that life, and she just so happened to be one of them. She simply had a different taste. Her decision to stick firmly to her taste, knowing the easier thing to do would have been to just strip down and sexualize herself a bit more to gain quick fame and, personal instant gratification, is what I find impressive from her. It was at this point her mother's question popped in her head again. Where's your voice? Where are you? And guess what she did, guys? Guess what she did? She wrote a letter to management and advised them that she decided to call it quits. Which is insane because, especially nowadays, that is considered absurd. Wildly unreasonable or illogical, inappropriate. A lot of people would be like, are you crazy? You're mad. Clearly you're mad. You're not okay, That's how people would react. Am I lying? Let me know. Especially nowadays. Come on now. Come on. No. That is insane. And I say that because the majority would not be able to do that. If I think about it myself, and I'm being honest with myself, I don't even know if I'd be able to turn that down. Maybe I would. I don't know. I've never gone that far. In that world, meaning specifically with music and in joining a music group and, being signed to a label and all that. I've not been in that specific situation. I don't know. But when I heard that, I was just like, wow, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. And funny enough, right after her decision, the group was inescapable. Even Oprah introduced them on her show. They were everywhere. I mean, come on, guys. Black Eyed Peas. Boom, boom, boom. Gotta get. Boom, boom, boom. Gotta get. You're so 2000. We're so 2000. Yo, they had good tracks. Or, no, don't win my heart. I wonder if I take you home, would you still be in love, baby? In love, baby. Black Eyed Peas, I remember I was 8, 9, 10? And they were one of my main artists groups that I would listen to. Anyways, I decided to mention the fact that it was blown up in her face, because I know most of us, like I said, even myself, would have felt some type of way. And I don't know about you, but I've personally been in situations similar to this multiple times, where right after you decide to include integrity in your decision making, that thing or whatever it is that is presented to you or offered to you is literally given to someone else, or goes viral, or is on the news literally the next day. See, integrity is cool and all and admired up until you must face the immediate consequences that come up with it, right? It's admirable to have integrity, but it's not easy. Listen, sometimes that will happen, and that's just life. That's just what it is. Is it some kind of test of character? Is it some type of slap in the face by some, I don't know, kind of weird karma, a rude message from some type of energy. Listen, this is up to you to dig deep and find out. Deep down, we all know the answer, but we just need to call it, we just need to cut all the distractions, be in silence, isolation, and really take the time to listen to ourselves. Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few moments, including you. Ignoring your inner voice, guys, ignoring your intuition and how you feel is a form of self-betrayal. I learned that in the last, 2 years, I'd say. You must take time to be alone in silence and listen to your voice to be able to be your true self. I really mean that at the bottom of my heart. Get honest with yourself and people around you about who you are, what you want, and how you expect to be treated. Get honest with yourself and people around you about who you are, what you want, and, how you expect to be treated. Standards will scare off the right people that are not meant for you and your purpose. So just keep that in mind when it gets a little tough, I cannot stress how important it is to get comfortable with being alone. It will empower you. Like, even for myself, I'm still practicing it. And the more I practice it, the more I love it, the more I'm confident, the more I can do it, the more, happy I get, the more I get in touch with myself, and slowly that turns into peace. If it makes you feel any better, I myself have, struggled with this issue. I lost myself trying to compete with other people instead of being me. I was extremely lost. I felt like I was stuck basically in a routine that felt impossible to get out of. And I got to a point where I got tired of my own BS and being caught in this spider web situation that I put myself into, because that's another thing that we must learn to do, is be accountable for our own actions, okay? It's not everybody's fault. It's not the people around you. You allow certain energies to come in. You basically, in a way, teach people how to treat you, etc., etc. So you also have to blame yourself. Don't victimize yourself. And trust me, I'm not speaking as if I am perfect and I'm a know-it-all. Like, I was that person. Like, I love to victimize myself, but that's why I wouldn't change, right? So that's why I felt the need to put that out there and mention it to you. It helped me, so I want to help you. Anyways, I decided I wanted to change my ways instead of being weak and someone that I'm not. I started to re-embrace my uniqueness, because in my childhood, I was pretty good at this. Growing up, I grew up very alone. I was that outcast child. Like, during recess, I'd hang out by myself, unless I was playing a sport, but I would hang out by myself, sit down somewhere. I'd be reading, singing, even praying. Like, I was just that child. And then, of course, when I turned about 11 or something, around, I think 11, I was put in a foster home. And of course, that was a turning point for me. And it definitely affected me and my character. And that's where I started to change, become more rebellious and not respect authority. And, and that's where I lost myself and started to act like everyone else. But now that I'm an adult and I'm in my 20s, I decided that I didn't want to be like that anymore. I was done being resentful and playing the victim, and I wanted to embrace my uniqueness. This is why I want to speak on this and write on this. I want to encourage self-embracement for young women, middle-aged women, old women, everyone for that matter. Learning to not be ashamed of yourself and having integrity is the main thing here. We can all learn from Kim Hill. I really, really respect and love what she did. She stood her ground because she had priorities set for herself, and she was like, nah, what you mean? I'm good, you know? And our generation has no patience to slow down and think about these things, which is one of the main reasons chaos is being created at the speed of light. It's as if instant gratification is the only option, and you know, that it's cool to sell yourself short. No. You should not make any impulsive decisions. You should not sell yourself short. You should not do any of that. You should think about it. Think about what you want. Take time. And if you know for sure that is what you want, then go for it. So that, you know, after you've done the decision, there's less regrets and mistakes. And, you know, you don't want to get to a point in your life of, you know, where there's a point of no return. Because some decisions are not that generous, you know. You can't undo some decisions. So you really have to be careful. Okay, so again, I'm not writing this to put women who decide to do the opposite of what Kim Hill did. Don't even try that line with me, honestly. Don't even try that. Like, that's not what I'm here for. Because you know what? In fact, I respect women who know exactly what they want. If they are offered what Kim Hill was offered, and if that's what they want in the first place, they wanted in the first place, kudos to them. Kudos to them. It's that simple. At least they own up to who they are and live in their truth, not in confusion. That's the point. The purpose of this was to encourage not to give in just because the majority would, or because, you know, everyone else is doing it. Give in if that's what you want, and if it's what you stand for, if it matches with your standards and character. You know what I mean? It was to show if you are in a situation where you're asked to do something that you do not agree with, put your foot down. Do not sell yourself short. Stay true to who you are. That is the main message. Where's your voice? Where are you? This is a question I believe every individual should ask themselves to find their purpose, to create an appropriate vision for themselves, and live a meaningful life. You know, to wonder if a happy life is different from a meaningful one, or the same thing, is normal though. But that's a different subject that I can touch, you know, on. If you're interested, you would just have to let me know. Once again, I could do that, no problem. Anyway, in the end, Kim Hill was grateful that she was part of a good time in hip-hop. A time that was the last of it, in her opinion. Okay, this is her opinion. But she embraced and was grateful for what she experienced. And even though her music isn't wrapped in bows with platinum records and a big house, she has her happy. She has her success. Just understand, guys, that the whole world is inside you. I know this sounds kind of corny, but like, I don't even care at this point because it's just the truth. Sometimes, you know, what was it that they say? Truth is stranger than fiction, something like that. And it makes people weird, but it's the truth. Truth sometimes makes people uncomfortable. But as I was saying, just understand that the whole world is inside you. It's in your perspective, how you see things. It's all in your mind and your heart, of course. Once you really get that idea, you will feel like yourself. You will eventually find peace and enjoy your path without comparing or competing with others, because you'll understand that you're unique and you're you and that's them. You understand? Once you learn to master this, embracing your true self, you will start living a more clear and peaceful life. So just remember that. I'm also putting that into practice, actively putting this into practice. So I'm with y'all and I support y'all, okay? But yes, just know that. Just remember that. Just remember that. And know that people who keep it real don't give a damn about being liked. Okay? You can't have everything in life. You gotta choose one. Keep it real or be liked. What's more important to you? Oh, which one is it? My bad. Wow, I'm so cringe. Like, it's pretty bad. But what can I say? What can I do? But yeah, people who keep it real don't care to be liked. And these people, even when alone, they will never feel lonely. That is what integrity can do to a person. So, to conclude this, ladies, girls in elementary school and high school, young adults in colleges and university or in a workplace, mothers, elderly women, and gentlemen too. Listen, integrity is the first step to true greatness. Success will come and go, but guess what? Integrity is forever. And some of you will forget this, but that's okay. As long as the seed has been planted in your mind, I'm happy. And I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Whoa, wait. I seriously can't take myself seriously. Honestly, guys, I'm sorry, but I couldn't find a better picture than this. So this is the picture I chose, and that's that. Period, okay? But yeah, as I was saying, I hope you guys enjoyed this session, the topic, the theme. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to speak on more topics that you guys are interested in. It's always good to have these type of talks because there are people that don't have someone to talk to about this, or even worse, don't have anyone in their life to talk to them about this. So if you know someone that may need to hear this, of course, send it to them, like it, comment, and yada yada yada, subscribe and this and that, you know the drill. And let me know if you guys feel like you have integrity or not, and if you don't, what are the steps that you are will take to get to that point. Anyways, I love you guys. Hope everyone is having a great, rest of 2019. And I'm excited for 2020. And maybe this could be one of your goals for 2020. Who knows? Anyway, take care of yourselves. Just remember, at the end of the day, anything that I do or say, it's coming from a good place. I don't mean no harm. Love is my message. You already know. So, yeah. Bye, guys.